An inmate at the Vermilion County Jail. Your call has been accepted.
Hello, everybody. This is Craig Hendry coming to you from the Vermilion County Jail in Indiana, where the Indiana state government has been holding me as a political prisoner since October 16th this past year. They have announced their intention to hold me well into next year, even longer if they desire. Seeing as we are headed into a new year, I want to leave you all with my thoughts and perhaps a few predictions for the year to come. To start, I want to recognize that I am not the state's only political prisoner. There are a great many of us that exist in this country, from people who consume prohibited substances to those who refuse to pay extortion fees exacted upon them at the hands of the scoundrels known as government. Indeed, I am one of many. The very reason I began a YouTube channel was to expose what government employees are willing to do to non-aggressive persons. The government aggresses against and trespasses against people for no reason other than those persons' refusal to obey their commands. The evidence provided on this channel, as well as thousands of other media channels, is enough to show that the fact that all men are created equal is a fact that goes unrecognized by the men and women who call themselves government. As those men and women claim for themselves the right to aggress, assault, trespass, vandalize, kidnap, and steal from those that are not a part of their government gang. If you realize this, you are aware that this is a huge problem and will only grow unless an active, concerted effort is made to prevent it. I look at my own channel as a Paul Revere-style alarm-raising media outlet. In doing this, those in power have made an active, concerted effort to stop this, and that effort has resulted in me being here in jail. I will briefly mention that I have only a limited time left to acquire an attorney to perform my appeal for me, which will cost me upwards of $30,000, and any donations are greatly appreciated. $12,000 has already been raised, and now back to my thoughts. Many people have criticized or questioned my actions in raising awareness about the government gang and the dire consequences of their actions. I have received hate, love, constructive criticisms, and physical consequences for my actions on this channel. People mention that my life would be easier if I just go along with the government gang's demands, if I would withhold my criticisms or challenges to the government's thuggish behaviors. They are perhaps right, as many small business owners in New York found in the golden age of the mafia it is easier to pay the extortion fees than to receive a broken leg. This line of reasoning would imply that it is easier to timidly accept subservience than to claim your equality as free men and women. It is in the name of justice that the latter is the path that I choose. Despite the broken leg, I will not bow my head to thugs. If a man says, "Pay me or else," he is rightly viewed as a thug. If that same man pulls out a badge, people these days are all too willing to extend their wallets. In each scenario, there is a victim, the person being robbed. However, government brainwashing in public schools has convinced a great many that if they do not willingly pay the man with the badge, they are the thug, and the thief the victim. This is the slave's mentality. I was once a subscriber to these beliefs. It is easier to go along with the crowd. I no longer do. I would urge you, my audience listening, to steer clear of this slave mentality. Many will protest that they cannot afford to, that the potential punishment is too costly. To those people I would say, take a look at your grocery bill, gas and energy bill. Look at the amount of money you pay to the government gang every year. Look at your future and ask yourself how much longer you can afford to be a slave. How much longer you can live on your knees. Probably not very much longer. And living on your knees becomes less and less comfortable all the time. Stand up. Countless times history has repeated itself. To think it will be different this time would be naive. Governments get big. They issue arbitrary commands and demands. They print paper money. They go broke, run up a huge debt, try to print their way out of the debt, and usher in an era of poverty and tyranny. Each time people wax lyrical about how it's easier to comply until, of course, they are starving or rotting in cages, or in some cases killed. This is a different way of saying back the blue until it happens to you. I do not think at this point anyone can deny that the United States has followed this trend to a T. And the next year, 2025, will mark an accelerated progression towards the result. Be vigilant, stay on your feet, become a new person this year. Sincerely, Craig Hendry.